Hey, for all of its production issues and confusing statements, there's one thing that Frozen 2 got right, and that thing is grief. The Next Right Thing is a song and a scene in Frozen 2 featuring Anna at her lowest. Throughout the film, Anna focuses on keeping things as they are to an obsessive degree. But the events that lead to this scene are so far out of her control. The quest she and her friends embarked on has taken a horrifying turn. She's just learned that her grandfather is responsible for the central conflict of the film, the destruction of the Enchanted Forest and the people of the tribe of Northuldra. Her friend Olaf disintegrates in her arms, leading her to believe that her older sister Elsa, who she spent her whole life following, has died. And through these three events, her whole world has fallen apart. In the face of this darkness, Anna sings a song. I've seen dark before, but not like this. This is cold, this is empty, this is numb. The life I knew is over, the lights are out. Hello, darkness, I'm ready to succumb. The first time I heard those two lines, I was shocked. This is a Disney princess greeting death, even welcoming it, and addressing the darkness, depression, grief, fear plainly. It was achingly mature for the sequel to Disney's best 5-year-old birthday party merchandise seller, and it was a place I had been to before. Seeing my pain in the Frozen sequel was the last thing I expected when I hit play. Throughout the film, a phrase repeats, first from the Troll King, then with the Lieutenant. Do the next right thing. A rule for guidance in times of confusion. You don't need the whole plan to keep moving. Just make the next right choice, and then do it again. And that sentiment is restated in this song. I filed it away in my brain. Frozen 2 is cooler than I thought. I follow you around, I always have. But you've gone to a place I cannot find. This grief has a gravity. It pulls me down. In November of 2020, I rescued a cat on a whim with my partner. She was wandering the streets of Detroit, limping and covered in burrs, but she was very friendly. A snowstorm fell the next day, and you might have said I saved her life, but really, she saved mine. She was perfect. Absolutely adorable, more and more friendly the longer she lived with us, and she and her brothers would make a triangle around me all the time. I would look at her and feel full of mirth no matter what was happening in my life. She was an endlessly comforting companion. In May of last year, we moved 7 hours away to another state. The first day there, she almost died. She was diagnosed with heart failure. And I don't know if you've ever medicated a cat, but it's not easy. For the rest of her life, I'd have to medicate her twice a day or she would die. So I did. I wrestled with this cat, held her mouth open, and prayed that she would take her meds with little struggle so her heart would keep beating. And she was so good about it for a while. She'd even come to me around the time of day when we'd do it. We'd be done in 10 seconds, and then I'd thank her for letting me keep her alive, take her out on the deck for some sun, give her scoops and snuggles. And we did that for the next 335 days, at least 650 times. I'd do it for 1,000 more. The thing about doing something so intimate and so uncomfortable with an animal over 600 times is you develop a very close bond, closer than you thought possible. She seemed to understand that I was keeping her alive. She spent all of her time where she could see me, sleeping on my desk while I worked or playing games, lurking on the couch while I read, watching me from the bookshelf while I ate. She purred if I looked at her. She was an angel even as her health declined. And the longer this went on, the more desperate I became to keep her with me. I felt like I needed her. I begged the universe for things to not change. I was in denial. And then they did change, because they always do. She died in February of this year in front of my eyes. Heart failure is an inevitable condition, and I hope you never have to watch any living creature lose the battle to it. There was nothing I could do to save her anymore. Can there be a day beyond this night? I don't know anymore what is true. I can't find my direction, I'm all alone. The only star that guided me was you. I grew up in uncertain circumstances, as you may have surmised from my previous videos. One thing that was constant was my grandparents being around. They moved to the States when I was in 3rd grade, and much of my adolescence was spent tumbling around their house and playing Pharaoh or Virtual Villagers on the computer they pulled out of the apartment complex dumpster. I watched Green Acres with my papa, and my nonna would bring home bootlegs of movies like Spy Kids and Flushed Away from her job at the YMCA. I loved staying at their place. I had no idea how lucky I was to have their cooking on a weekly basis or to spend long hours in their company. I had no way to know because I was just a kid. Especially during everything with my dad's disappearance during my childhood, I was around my grandfather a lot. He was my favorite person, so full of laughter and mischief and always singing songs to us. Exactly 1 month after losing Tootie, at 2 or 3 in the morning as I lay on the kitchen floor, unable to even put my body on a soft surface, he passed away in front of my eyes, on the tiny screen on my phone. I hadn't seen him in years, and I don't have words for the desolation I felt. This loss would take me a lot of time to even start to heal, but it wasn't over because 38 days later my dad was diagnosed with cancer. He's still here, he's still fighting, and he's actually doing great, but still, at the time I felt grief. I moved to my hometown at the beginning of this year, and I was hoping to better my relationship with my parents. There was unrest in my soul, and I didn't want to carry that into my 30s. I was hoping to take it slow, and the world had different plans for me. I was hoping to be catching lunch with my dad and talking music and video games, and instead I was sitting in the waiting room at the radiation office, mourning what could have been if my dad had gotten sober before this year, frozen with fear at the present and paralyzed by grief for my past and my childhood self and my loved ones who had moved on to the next realm. And that's what the past few months have been like. I felt so much grief this year and it decimated me. Now I'm up and walking around, but I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm dysfunctional, it's hard to focus. I'm plagued with these feelings of immense loss at random moments, and still, it wasn't over. A week after I wrote what you just heard of this video's script, I crawled out of bed, opened my work laptop, and found myself locked out of it. Panic texts from my coworkers and my phone. My entire team had been laid off with no warning. The last 7 years of my career over like I was nothing. This year, I begged the universe to stay the same, and it kicked my ass. So it's been a summer of doing the next right thing. I don't know if I'm actually doing the next right thing a lot of the time. Sometimes it feels like the very wrong thing. Like when I spend 2 weeks straight dissociating after work by spending my entire evening playing mini motorways and watching Grey's Anatomy. I guess for my own sake, I'll try to define it. The next right thing is whatever is gonna get me moving today. The next right thing is whatever can help me tolerate reality until I can start to enjoy it again. Anna's grief in The Next Right Thing has become something I really relate to over the course of this year. Multiple gut punches back to back, feeling surrounded by darkness, lost, unsure how to move forward. The Next Right Thing employs a seamless visual metaphor. Anna starts out in the fetal position, hunched on the floor of a cave so dark you can barely see, quietly mumbling the lyrics. But as the song progresses, she demonstrates the process of grief, questioning, can there be a day beyond this night? Feeling directionless without her loved ones, realizing that she can take one step at a time until she can leap, crawling out of the cave step by step, stumbling blindly toward the light, and even though she's still grieving, figuring out what to do next. It's a display of incredible strength. And with the dawn, what comes then? When it's clear that everything will never be the same again, then I'll make the choice to hear that voice and do the next right thing. The Next Right Thing is Disney's best storytelling. It has no interest in sales or streams, but simply in conveying an experience every one of us will live through in our lifetime. Loss is universal. This process of suffering and re-emerging changed is universal, and it's been a comfort to sing this song and watch this scene this summer. The growing confidence as the song ends before crashing back down into grief, displayed out in the open and back to acceptance again, it's as non-linear as the process itself. The lyrics and the scene itself were inspired by the pain of the staff of Frozen 2, and I think it was brave and beautiful for everyone involved with the scene to not sanitize it or dumb it down. My life is different. I view my life differently now. This year's been awful. I lost myself, so you lost my signal for a while. And I'm still rebuilding. I feel very different. I don't think I'll ever feel the same as I did before. I don't even feel like I can organize my videos the same anymore. I forgot how to make my own thumbnails. I'm that scene in SpongeBob with the fire and the filing cabinets, and the only thing I know how to do is the next right thing. I think this will be the last video explicitly about my life that I make for a bit. There are hyperfixations I want to attend to, and besides, whether you could tell or not from watching, and whether the subject matter was deeply personal or factoid and historical, making these video essays over the past few years has been my way of processing my life. Whether it's through revisiting things from my childhood with fresh eyes and grown perspective, or finding solace in something new to me, it helps me grow and heal to process my life through animated media as a common ground that you and I can meet on. The Danny Phantom video, whether you knew it or not, healed my inner child. The Oron High School Host Club video taught me about managing my expectations. The Hello Stranger video helped me reconcile my anger. So I hope these videos help you in some way if you've had any similar experiences, and I wouldn't give up this connection that we have for anything. There have been some bright spots, mostly around living near my friends and family again for the first time in years, and around launching a band with my best friend. Working on music and gaming with my friends and having movie nights have kept me going this year. And in the last few weeks, especially streaming on Twitch has done that for me as well. More than ever, I mean it when I say, tell your friends and family that you love them. Stay hydrated and take care of yourself. I'll see you.
I am the queen of the universe. The waves tug. They engulf me and the water is warm. Can I ask you kind of a weird question?